Pretty rugged. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to robmotivejt. I'm out here cruising around in the Jeep Gladiator today, just kind of joyriding, if you will. But really, I'm working because I decided I'd go out, drive around, and make this video for you guys, for YouTube. So the question today is, can you, in good conscience, really daily drive a Jeep Gladiator? You know, I looked at mine while I've been out here riding around, the fuel economy gauge thing, right? And it says I'm getting 14.7 miles per gallon. That's horrible. I mean, I have had a couple of Toyota Tundras, you know, the big giant trucks, and they got better mileage, or at least equivalent to that. So why can't we get good gas mileage in something that's half the size? I don't know. It makes no sense to me. But on the flip side, I don't want to give up the power that the Gladiator has either. So I'm not really complaining about that. But as I'm cruising around, burning gas, you know, you almost can watch in my truck the gas gauge just going, right? I filled up like 2 days ago, and I'm already down to half a tank. And I haven't driven like 1,000,000 miles since the fill up either. So maybe I'm just not broken in yet. You know, in all honesty, the truck has 4,093 miles on it. Now, you're going to say, what? It's a 2021. How can it only have 4,093 miles? Well, it's because I split driving time between this, right now, my Honda Civic, and my Toyota Tacoma. So multiply that by 3, it still would be pretty low, right? I mean, I work out of the house. I don't have to drive to a brick and mortar every day. So it's not a lot of driving as far as that goes. But anyway, the in good conscience part, you know, my Tacoma gets a little bit better. And sometimes it's about the same. So I have another vehicle that doesn't get real great gas mileage. And then, of course, I have the Honda Civic for now. That car, and that's over on my Mod Driven channel, by the way, but it gets a little over 30 miles per gallon, so more than double what I'm getting in the Jeep Gladiator. And then even further, I have a new vehicle coming for that Mod Driven channel. It's going to actually replace the Honda Civic, reluctantly. I love the Honda Civic. It's a 6-speed manual, fun to drive, but I also love this next vehicle that's coming. It's going to be in the Toyota family. Now, this vehicle, the new one that's coming, is going to get over 50 miles per gallon. At least that's what it's rated at. 52, 54, 56, something like that. So, as I sit here pondering the money I'm spending just to make this video and joyride around, drive around, you know, this only gets about a fourth what that car would get when it comes to gas mileage. I mean, I get 4 times, or will get 4 times better the fuel economy in that car, granted it's a car, than I do in the Jeep Gladiator. Of course, the trade-off is going to be space. You know, it is a car, it's relatively low to the ground, doesn't have as much room on the inside. I'm going to give up some visibility because, you know, the Gladiator's basically a rectangular box. You know, windows all around. I can see everywhere, very little blind spots. I probably added one back there, over there, right there, you know, with that little window treatment I put in. But nonetheless, I can still see way better out of this than I'm sure I'm going to be able to see out of the next one. Power, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be another thing. This, of course, is more powerful, something that obviously is going to affect your fuel economy. I mean, the lower the power you have, I think, the more efficient it's going to be when it comes to burning gas. Unless, of course, you're trying to pull around a big heavy vehicle with a really undersized engine. Then you could have the opposite problem. But I know they put a 4-cylinder turbo in the Gladiator. You know, that was an option, I think, when we got my wife's, I should say the Wrangler. When we bought my wife's Jeep Wrangler, we had an option to go with a 4-cylinder turbo. And, you know, back in those days, I was never really a huge turbo fan. You know, today I can take them or leave them. They've improved vastly, I think, in the way that they marry the turbo with the engine. It doesn't spool out and feel gutless after you hit that plateau, you know. But back then, I didn't want one. We went with a 6-cylinder naturally aspirated. And I have to say, that vehicle almost feels like you could pop a wheelie in it if you nail it. I mean, it is really powerful. And I think it would be even more predominant if we didn't have bigger wheels and tires on it. That kind of weights it down a little bit, probably makes it a little bit slower than it would be if we didn't have those things on it. But back to the Gladiator, as far as the daily driver goes, you know, there are some positives in it. I mean, it is more comfortable. It is comfortable at all. It does have more power, as I mentioned. You can see out of it better. It makes the trip, I guess, more pleasant. The driving in something that is cramped or tight, or even a manual transmission. This is an automatic. I know you can get the Gladiator in a manual. But I've got to say, I drove for years back and forth to work in heavy rush hour traffic. And some of those years I opted for manual transmissions. And the biggest reason I always got rid of them was because I couldn't stand the constant shifting in bumper to bumper rush hour traffic. I mean, you'd be sitting on the freeway, move about 3 feet and stop. Just enough speed, I guess, so that you had to shift into second or third gear and then back down and then back up. I mean, you could imagine. I would guess my left leg, you know, the clutch pedal side, was probably more like a bodybuilder leg, you know, from doing that. Well, maybe not quite that much, but you get the idea. So an automatic Gladiator with all of its other features works quite well as a daily driver if you can stomach the gas or the fuel economy expense or part of it. As I mentioned, this is going to be getting 4 times worse, or the new vehicle I'm getting, rather, 4 times better fuel economy than this. That means it'll cost me less money to drive, and I can go further, even though it has a smaller tank. I think it has like an 11-gallon tank or something versus whatever this has in it. I just know that when I'm at the gas station, it seems like I'm standing there forever filling this thing up when it gets really low. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know. Does your conscience ever bother you when you're cruising around burning that gas in your Jeep Gladiator when you know there are other more fuel-efficient vehicles out there, even full-size trucks? Leave a comment. I'd be curious. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.